Hey, I'm glad you're here. If the room is quiet, but your mind isn't, you're not alone. This is that hour of the night when the body is tired, but the thoughts keep drifting back in unfinished conversations. Tomorrow's responsibilities, small worries that suddenly feel louder in the dark. Nothing dramatic is happening, and still, sleep feels far away. If that's where you are, there's nothing wrong with you. Some nights the mind just doesn't want to shut down on command. It keeps scanning, replaying, preparing, as if staying alert might somehow help. Tonight, you don't need to fix that. You don't need to solve anything, understand anything, or make yourself calmer than you are. This hour isn't asking you to improve. It's simply offering a quieter pace. In a few moments, we'll move gently through simple sensations, a steady rhythm, and a way of letting the night hold you without effort or pressure. For now, if it feels okay, let your eyes rest or stay half open. Take one easy breath in and let it go. You don't have to do anything else. Just listen. Just listen. Even that can feel like a lot some nights, because the moment things get quiet, the mind notices. It keeps humming like a house, where one light was left on, casting a soft glow down the hallway. You might feel it now. Your body is stretched out on the bed, heavy in places, but inside your head, there's still movement. Thoughts drift in without asking things you meant to remember, things you wish you'd handled differently, things that might happen tomorrow or next week. They don't arrive loudly, they just keep arriving. You don't need to chase them away, and you don't need to invite them in. Notice the bed beneath you, how it meets your back, how it holds your legs, your shoulders, your head. There's nothing you need to do to earn that support. It's already there. If there's a warm light on somewhere in the room, a lamp, a night light, a soft glow from the hallway, let your awareness rest on that warmth for a moment. Not looking at it, just sensing it. That steady, gentle color that doesn't ask anything from you. Outside, if there's rain tonight, you might hear it tapping lightly, not loud enough to demand attention, just present enough to remind you that time is moving on its own. Drop after drop. No rush, no effort. As you listen, you may notice your breathing changing. Not because you told it to, but because the body knows how to settle when it's allowed to. An inhale that fills you just enough. An exhale that lingers a little longer than before. That longer exhale is important. It's the body's quiet way of saying you can soften now. Your shoulders might sink a fraction deeper into the bed. Your jaw may unclench without you realizing it. The muscles around your eyes might loosen, as if they're done watching for the night. Thoughts can still come. They often do. But notice how they start to space themselves out, like cars passing farther apart on a distant road. You don't have to follow any of them. You can let them pass while you stay right here. Some nights, the mind doesn't want to power down all at once. It winds slowly, like an old ceiling fan, easing to a stop. That's not a problem. That's just how nervous systems work after full days, after responsibilities, conversations, screens, decisions. There's no switch you missed, nothing you failed to do. Feel the warmth of the bed again, the way it doesn't hurry you, the way it receives your weight without comment. If it feels natural, let one hand rest on your chest or on your stomach. Feel the rise and fall beneath your palm. That gentle movement is proof that something in you knows how to keep going without effort. Rain continues its soft rhythm outside. Warm light stays steady inside. Your breath moves in and out, not trying to be deep or slow, just being what it is. Sometimes, overthinking is just the mind's habit of staying on watch. It learned that somewhere along the way. Tonight, you're not asking it to unlearn anything. You're just letting it know that it doesn't have to work so hard right now. You can imagine placing the day on a shelf for the night, not throwing it away, not fixing it, just setting it down where it can wait until morning. Emails, worries, plans, questions, they'll still be there later if they need to be. For now, notice how the space around your thoughts grows quieter, not empty, just less crowded. The sound of rain becomes more familiar, less noticeable. The warm light feels farther away, softer. Your breath finds an easy rhythm all on its own. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Each time you notice, you can gently come back to one simple thing. The feeling of the bed, the sound of rain, the warmth in the room, or the slow release of an exhale. Nothing else is required. You don't have to make sleep happen. You can let it arrive when it's ready. Like the rain, it knows how to come down on its own. If your eyes are still open, they can close whenever they want to. If they're already closed, you can let the darkness feel like a soft blanket instead of a wall. Your body is doing the quiet work now. Breathing, settling, letting go in small, almost unnoticeable ways. There's nowhere you need to be. Nothing you need to remember. No one you need to become before resting. Just this moment. This bed, this breath. May you feel safe enough to soften. May you feel held enough to rest. May the night be gentle with you, and if sleep comes, you can go with it. And if sleep comes, you can go with it. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Because right here, in this quiet stretch of night, nothing is wrong with you. You might notice that thought land softly, not as an idea to agree with, but as something the body recognizes before the mind does. A small easing, a slight drop in the shoulders, a breath that doesn't have to be held quite so carefully. The bed stays steady beneath you. It doesn't ask whether you earned today. It doesn't review your choices or measure your progress. It simply holds. Let yourself feel that holding for a moment longer. The weight of your body settling where it's meant to settle. The places where warmth gathers under your back, behind your knees, along your arms. The light in the room remains gentle and unchanged. That warm amber glow that knows how to stay without demanding attention. It doesn't flicker. It doesn't rush. It just stays on quietly, like something dependable in the background of your life. Outside, the rain continues at its own pace, not trying to lull you, not trying to teach you anything, just falling, one drop at a time. Your breathing follows a similar rhythm now, still natural, still unforced, but a little more spacious than before. The inhale arrives, the exhale takes its time leaving. You may notice that the space between thoughts has widened, not because you pushed them away, but because you stopped leaning into them. They appear, and then they pass like reflections sliding across a dark window. Somewhere along the way, many of us learn to treat nights like this as evidence that something is off. That if we're awake restless, thinking we must be doing something wrong. That belief can settle into the body without words, tightening the chest, quickening the mind. Tonight, you're not feeding that belief. You're letting it loosen. Notice how your face feels now. The muscles around the eyes, the space between the eyebrows, the jaw no longer clenching quite so hard. There's no performance here. No need to look peaceful or feel calm. Just a gradual softening, like fabric relaxing after being folded all day. The rain doesn't judge itself for falling slowly. The light doesn't question whether it's bright enough. And your body doesn't need to justify its pace tonight. It has carried you through a full day, through decisions and conversations, through moments of effort and moments of waiting. Of course, it's taking its time to settle. If there's a part of you that still feels alert, still listening for what might be missed, you don't need to silence it. You can let it rest beside you like a tired guard finally sitting down. Your hand might still be resting on your chest or stomach. If so, feel the gentle movement beneath your palm. That rise and fall hasn't needed instructions all day. It won't need them now. Warm light, soft rain, steady bed, easy breath. These are enough. You may feel a quiet sense of permission spreading not as a thought, but as a bodily knowing. Permission to be exactly as you are in this moment. Permission to not be fixed, solved, or improved. If there's a sense of tiredness behind your eyes, you can let it be there. If there's still some wakefulness, that can stay too. Both are welcome. Notice how the darkness behind your eyelids feels now. Less like an empty space, more like a gentle cover. Something that doesn't rush you forward or pull you back. The rain keeps falling whether you listen to it or not. The light keeps glowing whether you look at it or not. And your body keeps breathing whether you guide it or not. Nothing is being asked of you. There's a quiet relief in that, even if it's subtle, even if it comes and goes. Your shoulders sink a little more into the bed. Your legs feel heavier, more grounded. The effort you didn't realize you were holding begins to drain away. You don't need to decide anything about tomorrow tonight. You don't need to replay the day to make it make sense. This hour belongs to rest, even if rest comes slowly. Let the rain handle the timing. Let the night carry the pace. If a thought drifts through, you can let it float by without following it. Return to the simplest thing available. The warmth, the sound, the breath. Over and over if needed. Without frustration. Without commentary. Your body understands this language. It has been waiting for this kind of gentleness. And as the minutes pass, you may notice that doing less feels surprisingly supportive. That not correcting yourself allows something deeper to settle. There is nothing you need to prove in the dark. Nothing you need to earn before resting. May you feel at ease with yourself tonight. May your body know it's allowed to soften. May your mind feel less crowded, even if only a little. And if sleep arrives, you can let it take you. If it comes later, you can keep resting right here until it does. Warm light, soft rain, easy breath. You're allowed to rest now. You're allowed to rest now. And as that permission settles, something simple becomes easier to notice. The warm light in the room hasn't changed. It's still there. Steady, patient, casting soft edges instead of sharp ones. You don't have to look for it. You can sense it through your closed eyes, a gentle glow that doesn't ask you to pay attention, doesn't pull you forward or keep you alert. It just stays. The bed beneath you feels a little more familiar now. Not just a place you're lying on, but something that's actually supporting you. Your weight sinks where it wants to sink. Your back spreads out. Your legs feel heavier, less held up by effort. Outside, the rain keeps moving at its own pace. You might hear it tapping against glass, or brushing softly against the roof, or maybe it's farther away, a distant hush that blends into the night. It doesn't matter how clearly you hear it. The rhythm is there, whether you focus on it or not. Drop. Pause. Drop. No urgency. No expectation. Your breath begins to mirror that rhythm, an inhale that arrives without effort, an exhale that leaves more slowly than it came. Not because you're controlling it, but because the body recognizes a quieter moment and takes advantage of it. With each breath out, there's a subtle release. Not dramatic, not something you have to track, just a soft letting go, as if muscles that were bracing all day are finally realizing they don't have to. Your shoulders ease downward, melting into the bed. Your arms feel heavier along your sides or wherever they've landed. Your hands don't need to grip or prepare. Thoughts still appear now and then. They always do. But notice how they feel different in this light. Less sharp, less insistent. They drift through like reflections on water, not demanding to be followed. If one catches your attention, you don't have to push it away. You can let it pass and return to something steady. The warmth in the room, the sound of rain, the easy movement of breath. There's a particular comfort in warm light at night. It reminds the body that it's not exposed, that it's okay to lower its guard, that this is a place meant for slowing down. You may remember evenings like this, lamps on rain outside the world, feeling a little smaller, a little less demanding. Those memories don't need to become stories. They can stay as sensations. The glow behind your eyelids feels softer now. The darkness doesn't feel empty. It feels padded, like a quiet room where nothing is expected of you. The rain keeps falling without trying to lull you. It isn't performing. It isn't rushing you towards sleep. It's simply doing what it does, and that's enough. Your breath continues its slow rhythm, in and out. With every exhale, your body settles a fraction deeper. Your jaw loosens. The space behind your eyes softens. Your forehead smooths as if it's done concentrating. You don't need to check whether you're relaxed enough. You don't need to evaluate how close you are to sleep. Those measurements belong to daytime thinking. This hour doesn't use them. The bed remains steady and forgiving. It doesn't shift when you let go. It doesn't ask you to hold yourself together. It simply receives. the light remains warm and unchanged. It doesn't brighten or dim to signal anything. It doesn't demand attention. It's just there, a quiet companion in the room. The rain continues, sometimes a little louder, sometimes softer, never asking for a response. Your breathing stays easy. Even if there are small pauses between breaths, they don't need to be filled. The body knows what to do with silence. If there's a sense of drifting, you can allow it. If there's still a touch of wakefulness, that's welcome too. Nothing is out of place here. Your body has been moving toward rest long before you noticed it. Each softened muscle, each lengthened exhale, each moment you chose not to interfere has been part of that movement. The night isn't asking you to fall asleep on schedule. It's simply offering conditions that make rest possible. Warm light, gentle rain, a bed that holds you without comment, a breath that comes and goes on its own. You can stay with any one of these or let them blend together into a single, quiet background. There's no need to think about tomorrow, no need to review today. Those things can wait in the morning light. For now, the warm glow remains. The rain keeps falling. Your breath keeps moving. And you can keep resting here, letting the night do its quiet work until sleep comes on its own, or until resting feels like enough. Nothing more is required. Nothing more is required. And in that ease, the next breath arrives on its own. Not because you asked for it, not because you guided it. It simply shows up quietly as it has all day and all night. You can let your attention rest there for a moment. Not on breathing as a task, but on breathing as something that's already happening. The bed beneath you stays steady. The warm light in the room keeps its soft glow. Outside, the rain continues its gentle rhythm, each sound arriving and leaving without effort. As you notice the breath, you might sense how it fills you just enough, no more than it needs to, and then how it empties slowly, completely, as if there's nowhere else it needs to go. That exhale lingers, just a little longer than the inhale, not forced, just unhurried. With that longer exhale, something in the body loosens again. A small softening in the chest, a quiet release in the belly. Muscles that were holding without you realizing it begin to let go. You don't need to count. You don't need to shape the breath. If it changes, it changes. If it doesn't, that's fine too. The rain outside doesn't count its drops. The light doesn't measure its warmth. Your breath doesn't need instructions. Notice how the body responds when you stop checking, when you stop evaluating whether you're doing this right. The shoulders settle another fraction into the bed. The neck feels less lifted. The face softens as if it's allowed to stop paying attention. Thoughts still pass through now and then, but they feel farther away, like voices from another room, muted by distance and walls. You don't have to follow them. You can let them move on while you stay with something simpler. In and out. Each exhale feels like setting something down. Not a specific worry, not a specific thought. Just a general sense of effort. The bed receives that effort easily. It doesn't sag or resist. It doesn't need you to hold yourself up. The warm light remains unchanged. It doesn't signal time passing. It doesn't urge you toward anything. It just keeps the space gentle. Outside, the rain continues steady, repetitive, never asking whether it's helping. Your breathing begins to feel less noticeable, as if it's blending into the background with the rain and the light. That's okay. Sometimes the most restful breath is the one you almost forget about. You may notice a brief pause at the end of an exhale, a moment where nothing is happening. No air moving in or out, just stillness. That pause doesn't need to be filled. It knows how long to last. And when the next inhale comes, it comes naturally, without effort, in and out. The rhythm becomes familiar, like something you don't need to listen for anymore. It's just there. Your arms feel heavier now. Your hands rest without tension. Your legs sink more fully into the mattress, as if gravity has become a little kinder. If your mind drifts, you don't need to bring it back sharply. You can guide it gently, like turning toward a familiar sound. The rain, the warmth, the feeling of the bed. Each time you return, the body responds by softening again. There's no rush in this, no finish line to reach. The breath keeps moving, whether you're aware of it or not. The night keeps unfolding, whether you track it or not. Sometimes rest comes not from doing more, but from interfering less. And you're already doing that. The exhale stretches just a little longer now. The inhale feels less urgent. The space between breaths feels comfortable, not empty. The muscles around your eyes loosen further, as if they're done scanning the dark. Your jaw hangs more naturally. Your tongue rests easily in your mouth. The body recognizes this pattern. It's a familiar one. The beginning of deeper rest. You don't need to name it. You don't need to analyze it. You can simply let it happen. The warm light continues to glow softly, even if you're no longer aware of it. The rain continues its quiet tapping, even if it fades into the background. Your breath continues, even if your attention drifts away from it. Everything important is already in motion. If sleep comes on the next breath, that's fine. If it comes later, that's fine too. Right now, rest is happening either way. You can allow your awareness to grow hazy, less defined. You don't need to hold on to words or images. Just the gentle rise and fall, the steady support beneath you, the quiet companionship of the night. In and out. May your breath remain easy. May your body continue to soften. May the night carry you gently, whether you notice it or not. You can keep resting here, breathing without effort, letting go a little more with each exhale. Nothing else needs to be done. Nothing else needs to be done. And in that quiet ease, a simple scene begins to take shape. Not dramatic, not special. Just an ordinary weeknight, the kind most people know well. It's late enough that the house has settled. Dishes are done or left for tomorrow. Lights are low. The day has loosened its grip, even if it hasn't fully let go. Someone, maybe you, maybe just a familiar shape changed into something comfortable. The kind of clothes meant only for home. Shoes kicked off near the door. Phone set down screen, finally dark. Outside, rain moves across the neighborhood without ceremony. It taps softly on windows, on rooftops, finding its way down gutters and sidewalks. No announcements, no hurry. Inside, a warm lamp glows in the corner of the room. Not bright enough to keep anyone awake. Not dim enough to feel lonely. Just enough to soften edges, to make everything feel less sharp. The bed waits the way it always does. Familiar, uncomplicated. A place where the body knows what to do. As you rest there now, you might notice how much of the day has already fallen away. Meetings that mattered earlier feel distant. Small frustrations have lost their detail. Even the thoughts that still appear arrive with less urgency. Your breath moves quietly, almost unnoticed, in and out. The rain keeps time for you. Not fast, not slow, just steady. On a regular night like this, nothing is being resolved. Nothing is being celebrated. Life is simply pausing between one day and the next. That pause has a particular feeling to it. A gentle slackening, like a knot that doesn't need to be untied, only left alone long enough to loosen itself. Your body recognizes this pause. It responds without asking for permission. Muscles soften in places you didn't realize were tense. The space behind your eyes grows heavier. Your jaw rests slightly open, no longer holding shape. The bed supports you in the same way it always has. It doesn't shift when you relax. It doesn't need anything from you. It simply stays. If a thought floats through something from earlier, something from tomorrow, you can let it drift by without engaging. Like noticing a light on in a distant house as you pass by, without stopping to look inside. The rain outside blends with the rhythm of your breathing now. You may not be listening closely, but it's there. A quiet reassurance that the world is moving along just fine without your supervision. Warm light, soft rain, easy breath, a bed that holds. This is what an ordinary night offers. Not answers, not clarity, just space. And space has a way of doing its own work. Your shoulders sink deeper into the mattress. Your arms feel heavier, as if gravity has grown more patient. Your legs rest without effort, no longer holding themselves ready. The breath lengthens on its own. Each exhale feels like a small release, not of anything specific, just of the need to stay alert. On a night like this, there's no expectation to be productive. No requirement to improve yourself before resting. The day has already taken what it needed from you. The rain continues its gentle pattern, sometimes louder for a moment, sometimes fading back into the background. It doesn't matter which. The light remains warm and constant. It doesn't signal bedtime. It doesn't signal morning. It simply creates a sense of safety in the dark. Your breathing becomes quieter, less noticeable. It no longer asks for attention. It blends in with everything else. Another background rhythm, steady and reliable. Thoughts grow farther apart. When one does appear, it feels less solid, less convincing. It comes, and then it goes, without pulling you along. This is how a regular night winds down, not with a sharp ending, but with a gradual easing. Your body remembers this process. It's done it countless times before. Even on nights when sleep took longer, even on nights when the mind stayed busy. There's comfort in that familiarity. Nothing about tonight is unusual. Nothing needs special attention. The bed feels warmer now. The weight of the blanket settles more evenly. The space around you feels contained, protective. The rain keeps falling. The light keeps glowing. Your breath keeps moving. If your awareness drifts, that's fine. If it stays lightly present, that's fine too. You don't need to monitor the transition. You don't need to notice the exact moment when rest deepens. On an ordinary weeknight, sleep doesn't need to be invited. It arrives when conditions are right, often without announcement. And even before it arrives, rest is already happening. Your body is softer now. Your breathing is slower. Your thoughts are fewer. Everything important has been taken care of for the night. Warm light, gentle rain, a steady bed, an easy breath. You can remain here, letting the night continue its quiet work, allowing yourself to be carried without effort. Nothing else needs to be done. And as you stay right here, something subtle begins to change, not because you force it, but because you stop pressing against the night. The effort to fall asleep eases first. Then the effort to feel a certain way eases too. What remains is simpler. The bed continues to hold you without commentary. The warm light stays exactly as it is, soft, forgiving, steady. Outside, the rain keeps moving, never checking whether you're listening. There's a quiet relief in not trying to manage any of it. When we push the night, when we try to make it hurry, make it work, make it deliver, sleep on demand, the body tightens just a little. The jaw firms, the breath shortens, the mind leans forward waiting. But when that pushing softens even by a small amount, the body notices immediately. Your breath lengthens again, especially on the way out. The exhale leaves without being escorted. Your chest settles. Your belly loosens, no longer bracing. You don't have to decide to relax. Relaxation is already happening in the background quietly as soon as the pressure drops. The rain outside doesn't push the ground to absorb it faster. The light doesn't strain to brighten the room. They simply do what they do, and that's enough. You may notice that your thoughts feel less urgent now. Not gone, just less demanding. They arise more slowly with wider gaps between them, like footsteps fading down a long hallway. If one appears, you can let it pass without following it. There's no need to finish the thought. No need to complete the loop. Your attention naturally returns to something steadier. The feel of the bed, the warmth around you, the rhythm of breathing that no longer needs supervision. In and out. The pause after the exhale grows a little longer. It's not empty, it's restful. That pause is where effort dissolves. Your shoulders drop another fraction into the mattress. Your neck feels less lifted. The muscles along your spine soften one by one without announcement. You're not giving up on sleep. You're simply stepping out of its way. The night doesn't respond well to pressure. It responds to space. And space is what you're allowing now. The rain continues to trace its path across roofs and windows. It doesn't rush to finish. It doesn't worry about where it lands next. The warm light remains unchanged. It doesn't flicker to signal progress. It doesn't dim to signal completion. Your breath continues quieter now, less noticeable. It blends into the background with the rain and the light, becoming part of the same steady atmosphere. The bed feels warmer, more settled. The weight of the blankets distributes evenly. Your body no longer feels like it's holding itself together. This is what happens when the night isn't pushed. The mind, no longer prodded to perform, begins to slow on its own. Thoughts come and go with less force. Some fade before they finish forming. You might feel a gentle heaviness spreading through your limbs. Not exhaustion, just gravity doing its work without resistance. Your hands rest more fully now. Your fingers don't curl or brace. They simply lie where they are. If awareness drifts, you don't need to bring it back sharply. You can let it wander and return naturally like a tide that knows its way to shore. The rain, the light, the bed, the breath, they remain constant whether you notice them clearly or not. There's a quiet wisdom in this moment, not something to understand, just something the body recognizes. The less you interfere, the more supported you feel. Your breathing becomes almost silent. The movement is still there, but it no longer draws attention. The space behind your eyes deepens. Your forehead smooths. Your jaw hangs in its natural position, unguarded. Even the sense of trying to rest begins to dissolve. There's just resting. The night doesn't need your cooperation to unfold. It has been doing this long before tonight. Rain has fallen on countless evenings like this. Lights have glowed in quiet rooms across neighborhoods. Bodies have softened into beds, one after another, without effort. You're simply joining that familiar rhythm. If a thought appears, "Am I sleeping yet?" you don't need to answer it. The question dissolves on its own when left alone. The breath continues. The exhale remains slow and complete. The pause afterward feels safe. Your body trusts this pace. It has been waiting for it. Nothing is being rushed. Nothing is being delayed. There's no need to hold on to awareness tightly. You can let it blur at the edges. Let sensations blend together. Warm light becomes warmth. Rain becomes a hush. Breath becomes movement without form. The bed remains steady and dependable. You don't need to check on yourself. You don't need to make sure you're doing this right. The night doesn't grade you. It simply receives you as you are. And as the pushing stops, rest deepens on its own, quietly, naturally, without effort. And as the pushing fades, something else becomes clearer. The night was never in a hurry. The rain outside has been showing that all along. It falls when it falls. It pauses when it pauses. Some drops arrive close together. Others leave long spaces in between. No drop checks the time. No drop worries about finishing. You can hear that patience now, woven into the quiet around you. A soft, steady sound that doesn't rise or fall for effect. It just continues doing exactly what it needs to do. The bed beneath you mirrors that same patience. It doesn't rush you into rest. It doesn't tighten if you stay awake a little longer. It holds you the same either way. Your body responds to that steadiness, not all at once, just gradually. Another muscle lets go, then another. Your breathing follows the rain's pace without trying to, in and out. The exhale takes its time, like it knows there's nowhere else it needs to be. The inhale comes back gently, without urgency. If you notice a pause between breaths, you don't have to fill it. The pause belongs here too. The warm light in the room continues to glow unchanging. It doesn't signal progress. It doesn't mark milestones. It simply stays present, softening everything it touches. Under that light, the edges of the room blur slightly. Shadows lose their sharpness. Nothing demands your attention. Thoughts still pass through now and then, but they move more slowly. They don't stack up the way they did earlier. One comes, then goes, and the space it leaves behind feels comfortable. Rain doesn't hurry the ground to absorb it. It trusts the ground to do what it does in its own time. Your body seems to understand that message. It stops bracing for sleep to arrive. It stops leaning forward, waiting for a result. Instead, it settles back. Your shoulders sink deeper into the mattress. Your spine feels supported along its full length. Your legs grow heavier, as if gravity has finally been invited in. The blankets rest where they are. They don't need adjusting. Their weight feels even reassuring. Outside, the rain continues its quiet conversation with the night. Sometimes you hear individual drops. Sometimes the sound blends into a soft wash. Both are fine. Inside, your breath keeps moving steady and unremarkable. It doesn't need to be deep to be enough. It doesn't need to be slow to be calming. It simply needs to be allowed. There's a particular relief that comes when you realize you don't have to catch up to anything. The night isn't ahead of you. Sleep isn't waiting around the corner, tapping its foot. Everything is happening at the right pace already. Your jaw loosens again. Your tongue rests easily. The muscles around your eyes soften further, as if they're done scanning the dark. The mind, noticing there's no pressure to perform, begins to quiet itself. Thoughts appear less frequently now. Some dissolve before they fully form. You don't have to watch this happen. You can let it happen in the background. The rain doesn't watch itself fall. it just falls. The warm light doesn't check whether it's creating the right mood. It just glows. Your body doesn't need to monitor its own softening. Your shoulders no longer hold themselves up. They sink heavy and relaxed. The warm light remains, even if you're no longer aware of its shape or color. The rain remains, even if it fades into a distant hush. Your body remains softening with each passing moment. Nothing is being missed. Nothing is falling behind. The night is wide enough to hold you exactly as you are, exactly where you are. You don't need to follow the rain. You don't need to follow your breath. You don't need to follow your thoughts. You can let everything move on its own. And in that, allowing rest deepens quietly, not as an event, but as a gradual settling. Rain continues, light glows, breath moves, and you can remain here unhurried, unpressed, resting in the same gentle pace the night has always kept. And you can remain here unhurried, unpressed, resting in the same gentle pace the night has always kept. In that steadiness, another truth settles in, not as a thought, but as a feeling in the body. You're allowed to be tired. You may notice how that permission lands first in the shoulders. They don't need to hold themselves up anymore. They sink a little deeper into the bed, as if setting down something they've been carrying all day. The bed receives that weight without resistance. It doesn't shift or complain. It simply holds steady and dependable. The warm light in the room continues to glow softly. It doesn't brighten to keep you alert. It doesn't dim to push you towards sleep. It stays exactly as it is, a quiet signal that this space is safe enough to soften. Outside, the rain keeps falling in its patient way. It doesn't mind how long the day was. It doesn't ask what you accomplished. It just moves, drop by drop, unconcerned with judgment. Your breath follows that same uncritical rhythm. Outside, the rain keeps its quiet rhythm, sometimes clearer, sometimes fading into the background. Both are fine. Inside, your breath becomes less noticeable. It blends into the night, another gentle movement happening without effort. You don't need to stay alert to this process. You don't need to supervise it. Rest doesn't require attention. It requires permission. And that permission has already been given. If your awareness begins to drift, you can let it. If it stays lightly present, that's fine too. There's no wrong way to rest here. The warm light remains even if you're no longer aware of its shape. The rain remains even if it becomes just a hush. The bed remains steady and patient. Your body continues to soften, breath by breath, moment by moment. There's nothing left to prove tonight, nothing left to earn. Being tired is enough. May your body feel free to rest. May your breath stay easy and unforced. May the night be gentle with you.